Raiden opened his eyes slowly as the lights of the alien medical ward came into focus. His body felt heavy, and a dull pain spread across his ribs every time he breathed. He remembered the mission only in broken flashes, running through smoke, pulling a wounded soldier out of danger, then a blast from above hitting the ground near him. After that, everything went black. Now he was here, somewhere on a peaceful coalition planet known for its advanced medical facilities. He could hear soft alien voices speaking in different languages. Machines hummed quietly. The air felt warm, calm, and different from the human military medbays he was used to. A tall, four-armed alien doctor walked by and saw him awake. The doctor's voice was deep and gentle. "You survived a very dangerous situation, human soldier. Your injuries are serious, but you are safe here." Raiden nodded weakly. "Thank you." The doctor tapped on a glowing panel. "We will bring our best healer for your case. Please do not be surprised by her size. She is small, but she is extremely skilled." Raiden raised an eyebrow. "Small? Like short?" The doctor's four shoulders lifted in something like a shrug. "Very short." Before Raiden could ask anything else, the doctor slid away, leaving him alone with the soft sounds of the ward. Raiden looked around. Some patients were tall reptilian kinds, some were plant-based life forms resting in nutrient baths, and others were unknown to him. The medical staff moved like shadows, calm, expert, coordinated. Then he heard small footsteps, not normal steps, light, soft, fast, almost like the tapping of a tiny creature. Raiden turned his head and froze. A 2-foot-tall creature stood at the side of his bed. She had soft fur, large, expressive eyes, cat-like ears, and a long tail that swayed behind her. She wore a tiny medical coat with glowing symbols and carried a scanner almost the size of her whole torso. Despite her size, she held herself like a commander ready for battle. He stared. She stared. Then she sighed loudly. "You are the human soldier who nearly blew himself up?" "Figures." Her voice was high but full of confidence, like she had already treated 1,000 warriors tougher than him. Raiden blinked. Yes. I guess that was me." She hopped onto a chair, then onto the bed without hesitation. She planted her small hand on his shoulder like she owned the place. "My name is Lyra. I'm a Falari nurse. I am here to heal you. You will do exactly as I say." Raiden tried not to laugh. She was tiny, adorable even, but she spoke with absolute command. "All right, I'll cooperate." "You better," she muttered. "Human bodies are troublesome. Big bones, heavy muscles, too much heat, very inefficient design." He raised an eyebrow again. "Thanks, I think." Lyra didn't wait. She climbed onto his chest and looked down at him with serious eyes. "Relax." Raiden's eyes widened. "You're climbing on me?" "This is how Falari scan patients," she explained with complete professionalism. "My whole body can sense pressure, warmth, tension, injuries. I need to check your condition directly." Raiden slowly exhaled. "All right, do your thing." Lyra nodded firmly and began her examination. She moved with surprising precision, stepping carefully along his arm, pressing lightly on his muscles, placing her ear on his chest to listen to internal sounds. Her small hands glowed faintly as her medical device synced with her touch. She was fast, gentle, and incredibly focused. Her tail balanced her as she climbed across him like a tiny medical acrobat. "You humans get hurt too easily," she complained while checking his ribs. "Why do your bones break like glass?" "They don't usually," Raiden muttered. "Could have fooled me." She tapped his side with her palm, and Raiden winced, sucking in air. "Ah, there it is," she said softly. "What?" "Internal damage. Human doctors missed it, but I didn't." Raiden stared at her. "You found it just like that?" Lyra's tail flicked proudly. I am the best healer in this hospital. I find everything. She continued scanning him. Her small weight barely noticeable, but her seriousness impossible to ignore. Despite her tiny form, she moved like a seasoned expert. Raiden felt strangely safe. When she finished, she sat down on his chest like it was a perfectly normal chair. "You will need treatment for 3 days," she said, "but you will recover. Humans are tough, stubborn. You might survive simply because your body refuses to die." Raiden smiled weakly. Good to know I'm stubborn even in medical terms. Lyra didn't smile back, but her eyes softened. "You saved 3 of your squad before the blast reached you. The staff told me. That was impressive." He blinked in surprise. "You think so?" "Yes." She looked away quickly. "Don't make me repeat it." Raiden chuckled. But the moment of calm didn't last. A loud alarm echoed through the ward. The lights shifted to emergency yellow. Staff rushed past the entrance with urgency. Raiden turned to Lyra. "What's happening?" Lyra pressed her hand to her earpiece, listening to incoming reports. Her ears flicked rapidly, a sign of stress among her species. "There is an energy sickness spreading through the patients from the Solari sector. Their nervous systems are shutting down one by one. Our scanners cannot read the cause." Raiden tried to sit up, but pain held him down. "Can I help?" Lyra jumped to the floor and faced him with wide, shaken eyes. "You might be able to." Raiden frowned. "Me? How?" "Your biology is reacting to something our sensors can't detect," she explained. "Earlier, during the scan, your body showed signs of fighting a foreign energy, something no other species here has resisted." Raiden looked confused. "So I'm immune to this sickness." "Not immune," Lyra corrected, "but resistant. And resistance gives information." Raiden understood instantly. "You want to scan me again, to compare my reaction to theirs?" "Yes," she said, tail flicking nervously. "If we understand what your body is fighting, we might design a treatment for everyone." He nodded without hesitation. "Do it." Lyra looked at him, a mix of fear and admiration passing through her eyes. "You agreed very fast. People are dying, right?" "Yes." "Then let's help them." For the first time since meeting him, Lyra smiled, the kind of small smile that showed trust. She climbed back onto his bed with even more determination than before. This time, she didn't waste a second. She climbed up his side, then onto his chest, pressing her hands and knees carefully as she activated a deep scan mode. Her device glowed brighter, and tiny symbols floated around her. She placed her hands directly on Raiden's heartbeat point and closed her eyes. He could feel the energy humming through her body. Lyra whispered, "I need to go deeper. I need to see how your immune system reacts." Raiden stayed still. "Go ahead." A pulse of soft blue light spread across his chest. Lyra concentrated hard, her tail curling tightly in focus. Her ears twitched with every reading, every change inside his body. Her breathing became quick. Then her eyes snapped open. "I found something." Raiden looked at her. "What is it?" "There is a parasite," she said quietly. "Not alive like a normal parasite, but made of energy. It attaches to nervous systems. It drains strength, causes confusion, and spreads through any life form that uses energy-based biosignals." "And my body is fighting it?" "Yes." Lyra placed her small hand on his face. "Your nerves are resisting it. That is why you survived the blast. The parasite was already feeding on you during the mission, but your body fought back and delayed the symptoms." Raiden exhaled. "So humans can help you understand how to fight it?" "Yes," Lyra said. "But I will need to stay with you. Every moment, every reaction matters." Raiden nodded. "Stay then." She stepped off his chest and stood by his arm. For a moment, she looked unsure of herself. "You are not afraid?" she asked softly. "Should I be?" Most patients panic when a Filari climbs on them, she admitted. They think we're strange or too wild. Raiden gave her a calm smile. You're helping me. Why would I fear that? Lyra's ears flattened in something like embarrassment. Humans are strange. Thank you. It wasn't a compliment. Raiden laughed, but she quickly climbed onto his shoulder, grabbed the collar of his hospital gown for balance, and leaned close to his ear. There is no time to waste. Your reactions might help us save the entire ward. I will scan you again while comparing your readings to the infected patients. How long will it take? All day, maybe all night. Then let's start. Lyra's tail wrapped lightly around his neck, not to choke him, but for stability, as she activated the scanner again. She adjusted his position, guided his breathing, and studied every signal his body produced. Raiden could feel her determination. Despite her size, she was fearless, leading the effort with full confidence. Hours passed. Lyra never slowed down. She ran tests, climbed over his arms, checked his pulse points, measured his reaction to different energy levels, and monitored the parasite's behavior. Staff members rushed in and out, bringing her reports, samples, and data. She took everything without stopping her work on Raiden. At one point, a tall reptilian doctor entered. Nurse Lyra, the sickness is accelerating. We'll lose more patients by the next cycle. Lyra's small voice was sharp. I said I'm working on it, don't interrupt. The doctor blinked, nodded, and left quickly. Raiden whispered, You scared him. He deserved it. You're tough for someone your size. Lyra puffed her cheeks slightly. Filari are warriors of medicine. We fight sickness the way others fight monsters. Raiden smiled quietly. I can see that. As the day passed, Lyra discovered more patterns in Raiden's immune reaction. She stood on his chest again, tapping her scanner with growing excitement. This is it, she said. Your body produces a unique response that weakens the parasite. If we can copy that reaction, we can create a cure. Raiden felt a wave of relief. So we can stop this? Yes. Her voice was soft now. Because of you. Raiden looked at her small, determined face, her fur slightly ruffled from hours of work, and felt a growing respect for the tiny nurse. You did all the real work, he said. She shook her head. I only understood because your body showed me the way. The room fell quiet for a moment. Lyra sat beside his shoulder, her tail resting across his chest like a comforting ribbon. You humans, she whispered. You always surprise me. Raiden smiled. In a good way? Lyra did not answer with words. She placed her tiny hand gently on his arm, a gesture of trust and gratitude. Before either of them could say more, another alarm sounded, louder, sharper. Lyra's ears shot up. The sickness, it has reached the critical stage. We must act now. Raiden tightened his jaw. What do you need me to do? Lyra climbed to the top of his shoulder, her eyes shining with determination and fear. Stay alive, she said. I will do everything else. And with that, she leapt off the bed, sprinting toward the medical lab, carrying all the data she gathered from him. Raiden watched her go, knowing that the tiny nurse, small enough to sit on his shoulder, was now racing to save an entire hospital. He believed she could. He trusted her completely. And he knew the fight was only beginning. Raiden watched Lyra dart through the corridors of the hospital with astonishing speed. She carried her small scanner like a shield, her tail swaying for balance. Even though she was tiny, her determination filled the space, making her presence feel larger than life. Every step she took showed confidence and precision, and Raiden felt a strange pride in knowing she had chosen him as her key to solving the crisis. The alarms still echoed through the ward, and patients groaned from exhaustion and fear. The Solari sector visitors, with their energy-based biology, were hardest hit. Machines beeped frantically, warning of declining vital signs. The human soldier's body still throbbed from his earlier injuries, but he clenched his fists. If he had to stay alive for this, he would. He had never considered himself a hero, but now he had to be one. The medical lab was a flurry of activity when Lyra arrived. Several species were crowded around energy monitors, holding glowing vials and typing rapidly on translucent panels. The lead alien doctor, tall and crystalline in appearance, looked at her with disbelief. "Nurse Lyra, you are back so quickly. Do you have the data?" "I do," she said, voice steady. "And the solution is here, if we act fast. But I need him alive to verify it." The doctor blinked. "Him? The human?" "Yes." Lyra's eyes were sharp, unwavering. "His immune system holds the key. It reacts to the parasite in ways no other species' body can. We can replicate it." The doctor looked uncertain but nodded. "Very well. Prepare him immediately." Raiden was wheeled into the lab on a hover bed. He tried to sit up, but Lyra gently placed a hand on his shoulder. "Relax. If you panic, the readings will be wrong. Trust me." Her small palm was surprisingly firm, grounding him despite her size. He looked at her. "I trust you." She gave a small nod, climbing onto his shoulder to better adjust the sensors around his chest and arms. Her tail wrapped lightly across his back for balance. "Good. Hold still. This might feel strange." It did. Her small hands moved across his muscles, adjusting the scanners, reading his responses in real time. The tiny Falari nurse's touch was methodical, but there was a gentleness to it that calmed him. Despite her unusual methods, Raiden felt secure. He realized that she was not only a healer, but also an expert in understanding how the body worked on a level no machine could. Minutes passed. Lyra's ears flicked rapidly as she studied the energy readings. "Yes, this is it," she whispered. "Your body produces a pulse that destabilizes the parasite's energy form. If we capture this pattern, we can generate a countersignal." Raiden's eyes widened. "So it's like a natural vaccine?" "Yes, exactly," Lyra said. "But it must be done carefully. Any mistake and the parasite could adapt or spread faster." Raiden swallowed. "Then let's do it right." Lyra climbed down from his shoulder and activated a small device, glowing with pulses of blue light. She instructed him to lie back fully and breathe slowly. "I will channel your energy through the scanner. You just focus on your body's reaction. Let it guide the device." Raiden did as told. At first, nothing seemed to happen. But then he felt a tingling sensation spreading through his nerves, as if his body was waking up and fighting the invisible parasite again. Lyra pressed closer, adjusting the device, her small frame balanced on the edge of the hover bed. "Good. Hold it," she murmured. Her hands glowed faintly as the scanner synchronized with his immune responses. "Perfect. We are capturing everything." The other medical staff watched in awe. None of them had seen a Falari nurse work so closely with a patient, especially one human. They could sense the bond between Lyra and Raiden, a mix of trust, determination, and quiet respect. It was unusual and yet powerful. Hours passed. Lyra guided Raiden through each phase of the energy reading, moving from point to point across his body. Sometimes she had to climb onto him again to reach critical areas, balancing lightly on his shoulders or chest while monitoring vital signs. Raiden remained calm, even impressed. She was small, but her skill and focus made her seem unstoppable. At one point, a junior nurse accidentally bumped a table, causing a minor disruption in the energy field. Lyra's tail lashed sharply. "Careful! One wrong move and we lose all readings," she snapped, but her tone softened immediately when she saw Raiden flinch. "Don't worry, I've got you." Raiden smiled faintly. "You really mean it, don't you?" "Yes," she said simply. "I cannot lose you, not when you are the key." Her words struck him. Despite her tiny size, she carried the weight of responsibility and hope for hundreds of patients. He felt a surge of admiration. This small, furry nurse, whom others might dismiss as fragile, was the bravest and most competent being he had ever met. By evening, they had gathered enough data to create a prototype cure. The parasite's energy signature was captured, and a counter-signal was ready to test. Lyra called the lead doctor over. "We replicate the pulse, apply it to a small batch of infected cells. If successful, we can scale it to the entire ward." The tests began. The monitors flickered as the counter-signal worked its way through energy simulations. The Solari patients on the screens began showing improvement. Their vital signs stabilized, energy readings normalized. Raiden watched with relief as Lyra's face lit up, tail curling in excitement. "It's working!" she shouted, barely able to contain herself. "It's really working!" Raiden chuckled softly. "I guess humans aren't completely useless." "You're essential," she corrected. "Without your immune reaction, we would have failed." The success, however, was only the first step. The treatment had to be delivered to the entire ward quickly. Lyra organized the staff with military-like precision. Despite her tiny stature, her commands carried weight, and the team responded instantly. She instructed Raiden to rest as they transported the counter-signal across the hospital via energy conduits. He watched her run from one terminal to another, issuing instructions, carrying devices, climbing over machinery to reach hard-to-access panels. She was everywhere at once, fearless and unstoppable. Raiden realized something important. She was not just a nurse, she was a leader. Hours later, the last patient stabilized. The wards went quiet, filled with sighs of relief. Raiden, still weak from his injuries, leaned back on his bed, exhausted but happy. Lyra climbed onto his shoulder once more, tail resting across his chest as if claiming him as a partner in victory. "You did well," she said softly. "Thanks to you, hundreds are safe." Raiden smiled. "No, you did all the work." She shook her head. "We did it together. I guided. You provided the key. That is teamwork." Raiden nodded. "Teamwork. I like that." Lyra's ears flicked, and for a moment she looked almost shy. "Humans are strange. You talk too much." "Not enough," he teased lightly. "I could talk to you forever." Her tail flicked. "I doubt that. I have other patients to save, other emergencies to face." Raiden laughed softly. "I suppose the galaxy can't always wait for us." She rested lightly on his shoulder, her small form warm and comforting. "Stay here until you heal fully. I will not leave your side." Raiden's heart swelled with gratitude. He realized how rare this bond was. Not just a healer and patient, but two beings from different worlds, trusting each other completely, relying on each other to save lives. Days passed. Lyra stayed by his side, monitoring his recovery, running small tests, and teaching him about Falari medical methods. Despite her small size, she handled every challenge with courage and skill. Raiden healed faster than expected, his body responding to her care and expertise. By the time he was ready to leave the medical ward, the hospital staff celebrated him and Lyra. The coalition leaders honored them for their bravery and teamwork. Lyra climbed onto his shoulder for the final inspection, her small eyes proud and sparkling. "You humans," she whispered again, tail curling gently around his neck. "Always surprising me." "And you," Raiden said, smiling at her tiny, determined face. "Always amazing me." She rested lightly on his shoulder as they walked through the halls. To anyone else, she was a tiny Beastwoman nurse. But to Raiden, she was one of the strongest, bravest, and most loyal allies he had ever known. She had proven that size did not determine skill, courage, or heart. As they stepped outside into the fresh air, Raiden knew the galaxy was full of dangers. But with allies like Lyra, he could face anything. She climbed onto his chest briefly, giving him a playful tap with her paw, then leapt back to his shoulder. "You relax now," she said. "I will stay beside you until you are completely healed." Raiden smiled, watching her tiny, confident form balance perfectly on his shoulder. He understood something simple yet profound. Bravery, skill, and heart were not measured by size, species, or origin. They were measured by the will to act, the courage to trust, and the determination to protect others. And Lyra had all of it. Together, human and Falari, they looked out across the horizon. The galaxy was vast, full of unknowns and full of danger. But for the first time in a long time, Raiden felt certain. Whatever came next, they would face it together, and perhaps, just perhaps, they would continue to surprise each other along the way. The tiny nurse climbed higher on his shoulder, puffed out her chest, and whispered, "Let's go home, human soldier." And Raiden, healed, determined, and full of respect for his tiny companion, nodded. "Let's go." The sun of the Coalition planet glinted across the horizon as they walked forward, two unlikely heroes bound by trust, courage, and the promise of more adventures ahead.